Well, welcome back to the Throttle Up Podcast. We've got two people here, which I've wanted to have on for a little bit now, but just haven't gotten around to ask them. It's Evette and Fred Eickelmann. First met y'all back in 2023. I just found that out like 5 minutes ago when we helped Terry Limberopoulos at the SRL National Race. But yeah, that was a fun experience. Um, and now we're racing against each other on Saturday in the Crown Vics. I've been a big fan for the last couple of years. So, um, yeah, of course, what got y'all into racing in the first place? Because y'all started way back in 1991, which may not be way back for a lot of people, but for me, that's back in the dinosaur years. So, what was that like getting started back in 1991?
We went on our first official date in, was it 90?
Mhm.
And he helped a guy, Jim Hartzell,
Mhm.
Jim's from Sullivan, Missouri, and he ran a dirt, was it modified?
That was a street stock, I
Street
think.
stock at Farmington.
Mhm.
Okay.
So you helped Jim for a while.
Mhm.
So our first official date was Farmington Raceway. And we're up in the stands because he decided to sit with me instead of help Jim that night, thankfully. And those cars are going by, and I'm like, man, I would love to drive one of those. And he looked at me and he said, I'll build you one. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. So we got married in November of 90. He drug an old 73 Monte Carlo home before we got married and started working on it.
True.
And so
You were that confident. You were that confident.
he keeps working on this thing, and I'm thinking, is he really doing this? And so he gets it done, and now pressure's on. I've never driven a race car ever. So
Yep.
we go to the track with this 73 Monte Carlo and make laps with it. And it was the first couple laps, I'm not lying, my equilibrium was off.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, because the track was a different surface back then.
Yep.
It was a higher banked one groove around the top. And so
Hmm.
you had to get up on the high and just go. And it threw my equilibrium off. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. But
Yep.
that's how it began.
I'm I think everyone the first time they're in the race car, they're just like, okay, what did I get myself into? Especially at I-44, because I mean, back then it was a little bit more difficult because it's one groove around the top. But I mean, I got dirt buddies that will come over and they'll run a couple laps in a car and they go, this is insane. This is crazy. This is not like dirt at all. So, the first few laps are definitely crazy, and also the G forces around I-44. How did it feel, the G forces, the first couple times you went around?
I guess that's probably what threw my equilibrium off because, shoved all the fluid of my brain off to one side, I guess. I'm not sure, but yeah, it took a bit. I remember I had to get some pads for my seatbelts
Hmm. Yep.
because I was having marks on my chest right here.
Hmm.
So, and I think it's because the seat wasn't as good, and it was just throwing me around more than I should have been.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, back then the belts weren't as good of technology as they are today. You probably didn't have a Hans, or do you
Oh
have a
no.
Hans now?
Yes.
Okay, so no Hans, and probably the material the fire suits were made of were still probably not the best. So, all those considered, yeah, the seatbelts, yeah. I mean, I feel it in my shoulders still, or now my shoulders. I'll feel if the car is tight, I can feel it in my shoulders. If the car is loose, I feel it in my butt. So, it, I feel you on that. It's definitely a little weird the first time you go first few laps, and especially with the older style belts, seats, and all that kind of stuff. So I de definitely envy you for that. Now, of course, everyone has probably asked you this question, and I feel like I have to ask you this question. I don't really want to, but you're in a male-dominated sport. You and Sierra, and then there's one other girl that races in the Crown Vics. What is it like being a female in a male-dominated sport? And does it even come into your consciousness whenever you're racing?
No, it doesn't matter to me. I don't look at this as a male female sport.
Yeah,
It's either you know how to drive a car or you don't. It doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy.
agreed. 100% agree with you on that. So, um, whenever I tell somebody that like, oh yeah, th this lady we're racing against because a bunch of my coworkers want to see the videos of the racing. I was like, yeah, this lady, she's racing against us, and they're like, lady, and I go, yeah, it's everyone can race. It's not man can race or woman can't. No, everyone can race. So, I definitely agree with you on that. So. Let's start at the back of the beginning. You started in 1991, of course, you built that car, Fred.
Mhm.
1991, you started racing. What was that first year like, and how did you all grow throughout that 1991 season?
Well, it was just trying to figure out what's going on. We were as green as can be. We really had no experience. I mean, I did help a guy with a dirt car. I knew a few things, but a few basics really. But I remember going to the track for the first time and going out on the track, and the tires picked up, all of the loose rubber from all the other cars. It got impacted on the tires. And I remember when it came in, I looked at all this junk stuck to our tires, and I thought, oh my gosh, what is? I didn't know what was going on, or it looked like the tires were melting practically,
Yep.
And I remember we were pitted next to the Johnsons, the ones from Miller, yeah, Miller,
Miller,
Missouri,
Missouri Johnsons,
yeah,
not
Yes.
Lebanon.
yeah,
Yep.
Yes.
Charlie Johnson, Raymond
Charlie,
Johnson, Wayne Johnson,
Wayne,
that
yeah.
group. We pitted next to them. I remember asking, I think it was Aaron Johnson. I remember asking him, I'm like, what's wrong with these tires? Can you tell me what's going on? And he explained to me, he goes, oh, you're just picking up the loose rubber off the track, and they're sticking to the hot tires. And this is normal. Don't worry about it, type thing. But I mean, that's kind of how it started. I mean, we didn't have a clue really. I mean, we just, really a shoestring operation. We just wanted to make laps and not embarrass ourselves, and so that's what we tried to do in '91. That was our goal. Just make laps, have fun, and not embarrass ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
Yeah.
I gotta ask, where are the Johnsons at? I know I kind of saw them race a few years back, but they're not racing since the track reopened. What is there a reason why they're not racing right now?
I I I don't know. I know that Aaron is in Colorado.
Okay.
And of course, Ramey died. Ramey was Charlie's son, and Aaron was Wayne's son, or is. Anyway, Charlie and Wayne they're both passed.
Mhm.
I don't know the story really because when we got out of racing, we just lost contact with everybody.
Yeah, fair enough. So, what was kind of in 1991, what was the highlight of the year for you all? What kind of happened during that year that um, sticks out in your memory?
The track made a big deal out of me being a lady racer. They made a really big deal out of it. Too much.
Yeah,
They were capitalizing on trying to sell tickets. I mean, come on, it's a track. It's an entertainment sport.
yeah,
So they were trying to capitalize on it, and it kind of bothered me that the fact that they did that a lot, but it was what it was.
Women racers today, it doesn't draw that much attention. Some perhaps, but not a lot. Back then,
yeah,
it drew a lot of attention because it was just a abnormal thing. It didn't seem normal to have a woman there racing.
yeah. And I feel like racing nowadays has kind of become um, watered down in kind of a way. Like people don't view it as daredevilish now, but back then they probably did. And so having that kind of aspect, they're like, okay, this is something crazy and amazing, and a woman's doing it. So I feel like probably that kind of added to it as well there. So yeah.
We would, when we talked to people and we told them that, yeah, Yvette drives a stock car, their first response was, oh, does she run in the powder puff? They have a powder puff. They're like, no, we're racing with guys, racing together.
There you go. So after 1991, transition to 1992. Throughout that entire year, you're driving your own car, and then later in the year, you got into a big wreck. What kind of happened there?
Well, let's back up just a bit.
Okay.
So in 91, we had that big, heavy 73 Monte Carlo.
Okay.
Over the winter, there was a guy that lived a couple miles down the road from us, and he ran, was it Farmington and was it Bixby?
Bixby and
He was like track champion back in the day, probably in the
probably
70s, maybe
I'd say in the
60s,
he
70s.
raced in the 60s, and he was well known in the area for being really good, won a lot of championships and stuff. And he was obviously retired because he's older, and he just decided to take us under his wing one day. He pulled in the driveway. I knew who he was. I mean, the guy was a legend in this area. Everybody knew who he was.
So his name is Ed Worley.
But
if you ever look him up, you might find something.
He just pulled in the driveway one day, introduced himself, and said, and we were working out of a little postage stamp sized garage at my mom's house. I mean, this garage was so small, we had to push the car outside to work on it. And he pulled in there one day and he said, why don't you bring your car out to my shop? I mean, he lives like 2 miles from us, and you can work on it out there. So we did. And as soon as we got there with it, the first thing he said was, we need to build a new car. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I just finished this one.
Yep.
This car is too big and heavy. We're going to need a smaller, lighter, more competitive car. And then he started kind of getting the wheels going. He found a guy that was willing to donate a car and started lining up some sponsors and different things like that. Next thing I know, we're building a new car. And we built this thing literally ground up in, I think, 3 months. And I mean, I was, besides my 40-hour-a-week job, I was working at least 30 hours a week on the race car. On top of that, I was, just chasing my tail trying to get this car built.
Yeah.
And so that was the 80 Olds Cutlass we started with in 92, which obviously was a much better car, much lighter, and it worked a lot better.
So in 92, we started off with a better car.
Yeah.
And it was faster and it handled better.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first laps in that car like compared to the other one?
I think they also resurfaced the track.
They did. They redid the track as well, because the old track surface, it was such a bowl shape. It was a one groove track. Everybody ran the high side, and it was just hammer down and try to be in that spot. And when we had that old 73 Monte Carlo, if we started in the 5th position, we'd finish in the 5th position because nobody could pass us. Because I mean, you had to do a bump and run type thing to get around anybody, and nobody could move our car because it was too heavy. So. But then over the winter, Bill Willard decided to redo the track and change the surface, and he reconfigured it pretty much to the configuration I think it is now, to make it, because he wanted a multi-groove track and to make the racing more exciting for the fans. So
yeah,
track was redone at the same time we were building a new car. So the car was new and the track was new too.
Yep, and I had no idea what line I was supposed to take, and so there was a fellow competitor, man, I wish I could remember his name. I can't think of it, but he was from Republic, Missouri, and he had a blue street stock. I do remember that. And he said, follow me. He said, follow me around. I'll show you the line. And when he showed me the line, then the rest was history. And we ran a restrictor plate back then. So it's like you get in the gas and you don't get out of the gas, even when you're going into the corner. I mean, you're down 100%. Full throttle all the way around. If you have to lift or hit the brakes, you lose so much momentum. It takes another half a lap at least to get your speed back up.
Yeah. And did you have that back in 91 too?
Nope.
There was no restrictor plate in 91. The restrictor plate put up in 92, along with the new track and our new car.
It was just like starting over, except for the G-forces didn't bother me.
The biggest learning curve for 92 was trying to figure out how to make this restrictor plate work, what kind of part, what camshaft, what carburetor. You had to get that combination working. That was the toughest thing I think we battled with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure. I would, in 91, if you had a restrictor plate, I feel like that would be very fun to just rip it full throttle on the top side and just try to keep momentum up. Because you see a lot of videos of like a Winchester right now with Crown Vics, and they're just full bore to the pavement and they look fun. So doing that in 91, I feel like would have been really fun if there was restrictor plates. But so you go through that year, you learn the track surface. Towards the end of the year, how are you feeling going into the off season, and what's that kind of like? But of course, you did have that big crash coming to the end of the season. So what was towards the end of the season like there?
We were doing pretty good. It was like we said earlier, it was sort of a novelty to have a girl racing,
Hmm.
and it was cute at first, but then we started competing, and the guys didn't like it, and they started
Hmm.
beating up on me. And that's what happened the night of the big crash. Is I got beat up on in the heat race. I mean, hard hit, pushed into the wall coming out of four, so bad that it tore the bumper off, and I was hurting bad.
It actually spit the axle out of the rear end.
Damn.
It knocked that spacer, that keeper, it kept the bearing. It was a 9-inch Ford, and it spit the whole axle out. I was ready to put the car on the trailer, and then Ed and the Johnson crew, they come over with all their guys and crew, and they start working on our car, and they're like, we can fix this car. So they did fix it, which may not have been the best choice, but that's what happened, and we went out for the feature. So
I remember seeing a chain wrapped around something to hold the bumper on,
I've done that.
like a logging chain. I mean, it was just like wrap that thing around and got it hooked up. And so they're like, okay, you can go to the feature. So I'm in the feature, and we're coming out of turn 4. Here we go again, turn 4. And I rode up on a car's tire, and you tell how it went, because I was in the car. I don't really know what happened.
Are we naming names?
Should we name names?
You can name any names you want.
Well,
I think everyone's calmed down. It's been 34 years.
It is part of the story.
It's part of the story.
Yeah.
I mean, Ramey Johnson was gunning for a championship or something, and his right front tire got in front of our left rear tire, and so our left rear tire rode up on top of his front tire, and it started to tip the car over, and then I'll let you tell the rest of the story from there.
So I rode up the wall and into the fence and went end over end in front of the flag stand, right about that area, and ripped out some of the chain link fence, and the car landed on its wheels.
Mhm.
But it was demolished, and they came to the window and, are you okay? Are you okay? And I said, I don't know. So they got the stretcher out, and they pulled me out of the car and took me to the hospital and checked me out, and I was okay. I was just so sore. And I was hurt from the heat race, and then the feature, just like, I'm done. I'm just done. Yeah.
And
I'm sorry. It took 3 tow trucks to pick the car up and put it on the trailer. I remember that.
Dang. Okay. Yeah. I've never seen that.
3 tow trucks to pick it up, put it on the trailer.
But yeah, we are probably showing the photo here of the wrecked car on the trailer. But with how much safety equipment? Because obviously we have full containment seats, padding, Hans device, belts, fireproof, everything. What was kind of the safety that you had back then to kind of keep you safe in that crash?
It was a single layer suit.
Pro-band cotton.
Yeah. And I think it was like SFI1,
It was the
something like that.
Bare minimum.
Yeah. The picture of the suit that I have on, showing the first win, the trophy.
Yeah.
The suit I had. I think I had a horse collar, and I did have a full face helmet. I think it was a motorcycle helmet. I don't even think it was a car helmet. And just a 5
basic.
Yeah,
seat.
yeah, basic.
No full containment.
No full containment. Yeah, 5-point harness. We did have a little fire extinguisher in there, but I mean, it was bare.
Yeah.
Very bare.
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like a lot of definitely in recent years, since probably like 2020, safety has got really been cracked down on. So I know a couple of years ago, my buddy raced with a motorcycle helmet, but now you can't even do that nowadays. So that seems long time ago for safety wise. So you have that big accident, and then the next week you end up winning. So what happened there?
So Charlie Johnson, Ramey's dad,
Mhm.
calls, and you answered the phone. You tell.
Well, he asked if we were going to be able to get the car fixed. He wanted to know if we were going to be able to make it back. I mean, they were feeling bad about what happened, and I'm like, there is absolutely no way. This car it's totaled. We can't fix it. He
Hmm.
said, you tell your wife to come to the track next week and bring her racing gear. Starting to choke
And
up.
that's okay. And so I did. We showed up the next week, and Charlie put me in his car.
He said, we'll have a car for you. We didn't know what kind of car it would be. He said, well, is what he said.
So he donated his car, and he's front runner. And I got to tell you, it was the weirdest setup I've ever seen for a car. The clutch was mounted on, so you know the down bars on the roll cage, like
Hmm.
right where the dash is. The
Yeah.
clutch was mounted on that down tube. So
Okay.
yeah. And so when I shifted, my chest, I mean, my knee is like up into my chest, and then I push on this thing.
Yeah.
That's the way it was. That's the way his car was set up. So we get out. He goes, "Now you run this thing in third gear." Okay. So I get out there, and okay, maybe it was second gear. You run this thing in second gear. That's it. And we get out there, and I'd forgotten, and I throwed it in third, and I'm just, I mean, the thing is really lugging, but it's picking up speed, and it's really starting to go fast. And I'm just hammered down. He said, just make sure that you just don't let up. Don't let up. It'll stick. And so I'm trusting him, and I'm next thing you know, I am going so fast because I'm in final drive. He would run it in second gear, but it had such momentum going up. I think I beat everybody by half lap on that feature. Yeah. And so when I came in, he's like, "What gear did you have that in?" And I go, "Well, I had it in third." He goes, "I told you to run it in second." And he was surprised that it would go as fast as it did. So we learned as well that we were trying to gear our car lower because of the restrictor plate to try and bring more air, when actually we needed to go higher and run less RPM. And then we started getting fast. But anyway, that race was that was my first win. Fred didn't get to celebrate with that because it wasn't his car. But I mean, we are a team. But anyway, very first win. It was my 30th birthday on top of it.
There you go.
I sent you a picture of that article that was
Yep.
written. So during, I think it was the heat race, maybe it was before the feature, Leo Morgan was the flag man. Does that name ring a bell? Leo Morgan? He's a
A
legend.
little bit, yeah.
Okay. So he black flagged me. And so I'm like, what? So I went into the pits, and they had a birthday cake for me in the pits. So they had the little shenanigans they were playing on me. And then I went out and won the feature. So it was a pretty special night.
There you go. Okay. And what was okay? Yeah, what was the transition into 20 or 1993? How was that like with a beat up car now, and now you got a feature win under your belt, so you got more confidence. What was it like going in 1993 to obviously get a new car ready?
So we rebuilt the old car. The newspaper article mentions I put a new body on it. That's the simplest thing I did.
Yeah.
I took the frame to a frame shop. We straightened it the best we could. I replaced every piece of suspension on the car, rear end, front end, steering box, everything had to be replaced because everything was bent or broke. And then we put a new body on it, reskinned it. And then we had the setup. We knew how to set the car up because we had some success with the old car in 92. And we went down there in 93. They had a double feature on the first night because of a rain out in the previous race. They were trying to make up some races. And we won the first race of 1993 in that car. And honestly, I was happy for Evette when she won in 92, but I felt a little robbed because I didn't do anything. I did nothing to that win in 92. It wasn't me. It was all her and Charlie Johnson,
Yeah.
So I felt robbed. But in 93, I felt like she did me right, built the car and then won the first race. So that was pretty special for me.
Yeah. You're probably thinking like, oh, okay, now now that we know how to win, we can turn that into this new car since I have to fully redo it. So,
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah.
what was that first win back coming after 1993? So you won it in two different cars, with a fully rebuilt car. Was that a little bit more satisfying winning in y'all's own car in 1993?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. So basically it was two races in a row we won.
Yeah.
It just happened to be they were bookend,
Yeah.
So then we started off first in points right off the bat because we won the first feature. And then
Yeah.
we ran well. I think I've got old programs that show the point standings, and we were first in points, I think the whole entire time in 93, but they were beating on me hard. I mean, hard, spinning me out, running me in the wall. It's just like, I got sick of it. I mean, every week we were bringing the car home to fix it because they ran me into the wall or wrecked me because I didn't like getting beat by a girl.
There were a few drivers that just had it out for the girl driver, and they weren't going to let her win if they could.
Yeah.
And they would do anything to stop her. It'd literally run her off the track, run her into the infield. It didn't matter. So
Yeah.
we felt like a ping pong ball quite a bit, but we
Yeah.
were still first in points, and I don't think we ever finished out of the top four, even with all of the beating and banging. We still finished in the top four every week.
There you go. Yeah. Even when I ran the Crown Vics on a Saturday, in the heat race, I was just overdriving it, getting out of the late model, just overdriving it. And the last lap, Sierra passes me, and I'm like, dang, okay, all right, well, I mean, that kind of hurts just losing on the last lap. And I pull it in, and somebody goes, you just lost to a girl. And I'm just like, yeah, she's a badass too. So who cares?
It's different
So
now, right?
it was
Yeah.
like that was the least of my concerns. It was like I passed on the last lap because I was overdriving the car. Good on them. So I was like, yeah, I obviously people still kind of mention that today. So I bet back then there's a little bit of like, oh, what is she doing out here? So, and obviously you were still leading the points when ultimately you decided to go and jump up a class. So what kind of happened there?
Well, I think it actually we were approached in the pits. There was I don't remember where the guy was from. He had a couple of boys that were racing street stocks, I think, at Bolivar and Lebanon. I think they were sharing a car or something like that between Bolivar and Lebanon. He had two boys, and he approached me about buying our car. And I'm like, why do you want to buy our car? And he said, well, I want a second car. And he said, you guys got the fastest car that I believe is a legal car. He said, and I want to buy your car. And I'm like, you're kidding. I mean, we're first in points. That car is not for sale. And I think it was like the next week, some guys in the feature ganged up on her, and I mean, the car was on rails. We were going from the back to the front, and it was, I mean, just really, getting it done. And one of these guys decided to ran her all the way off the track into the grass. I mean, just very obvious. And it just really, rubbed both of us the wrong way. And we talked about it, and we got home, and we had that conversation again. And we're like, maybe we ought to call that guy with the late model. He wanted to trade us a late model for the street stock, which seemed crazy to me. I mean, it's an older late model, but nonetheless a late model. And he didn't want his boys driving the late model. He thought maybe he would turn it into a sportsman car, which he did not. And he just wanted to get rid of it and get another street stock. So we had that conversation again. I called him up and I said, is that offer still on the table? And he said, yeah. And we basically ended up trading our street stock for a late model is how we made and talk about jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. That was a big step.
Yeah, because that was basically 3 steps up.
Yeah, there was a sportsman class above us,
Okay.
and then the modified class too was really big then. So it was like 3 steps up to go to the late model. Yeah, so we really we had no idea what we were doing, of course, but we did it anyway.
And this is the same class that Larry Phillips ran in.
Right.
This was the Grand American late model,
Yeah.
Winston Racing Series,
Right.
something like that. Yeah.
Right.
So we'll put the picture above us here, and you
Okay.
raced against Larry Phillips. Now he's a NASCAR Hall of Famer. I don't know if y'all followed like the big campaign to get Larry in the Hall of Fame. Was there a little bit of like, hey, let's get him in the Hall of Fame just so I can say I raced against the Hall of Famer?
Thought of that. No, no, but I knew he deserved to be in there.
100%. Yeah.
I seen both sides. I got to race. I got to be on the track the same time as him, and then later on, I got to see what his car actually was because we became tech officials after we stopped. But maybe I'm jumping ahead, but I got to see both sides of Larry as a competitor and the tech side of it as well. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is, people might not understand late models in the 90s were just as badass as late models today. So late models today are kind of um, they are meant to be a little bit more regulated. They have to put in certain rules. But late models back then, you guys were turning just as fast, maybe a little bit faster laps than we were turning today. But the street stocks are a little bit dumbed down. So right now, street stocks, some of them are hitting mid 17 seconds. What were you hitting in the street stocks back then? Do you know?
I think we were running probably 1820s in the street stock.
Okay.
Not too far off from where they are now, but
Yeah.
they got a lot more power now than we did at
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah, I think the street stocks today are more like the sportsman class was back in the day.
Yes.
Very,
100%.
very, very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. So making that jump from the street stock to a late model, what was because I've had a buddy who's run some Hornet races and he's run asphalt Hornet races. And then he's jumped into the late model and he's blown away by the G-forces, everything. And he wasn't even going race speed. So what was the transition like? What was your first impression of driving that late model?
I was like, I'm out of my element here. This is way more than I thought it was going to be. I mean, when you're sitting in the stands and you're watching it, I'm speaking for myself, of course, but I would sit in the stands and I'd watch them like, yeah, they're faster, but how hard can it be?
Yeah.
There's a big difference going from a street stock to a late model. Big difference.
Yeah. And I mean, when I ran the Crown Vic on Saturday, I was like, this is fun. This is great. This is amazing. Like, I'm having fun. I'm racing side by side. No worries. Like, I wouldn't say no worries, but there's a little bit of like, okay, I feel like I'm understanding what's going on. The late model is so fast. Even when we were single file, I'm just like, what's going on? Even though I've raced it for 2 years. So that's if people can understand of like Crown Vic nowadays, since I've raced a late model, it feels like a Sunday drive. But a super late model still 2.5 years in, I'm still what's going on? I feel like I'm kind of out of my element because it's just so damn fast. So to do that back in the 90s, I wouldn't be able to believe how different that it changes. So after you got in the late model, after you started running some races, how did you perform in the late model compared to the street stock?
I was not a front runner. Not a front runner. We didn't have the budget to run up front.
Yeah.
We were, I think, so in 94, what did we do for an engine? 94. Was it the engine that it came with?
Yeah. Yeah. We ran the engine that was in the car.
And which was?
It was a home built engine. I mean, back then we had 750 Holley carburetors. So it wasn't we weren't restricted on carburation at all. And a person could still build an engine themselves in their garage and compete with it. You know, you didn't have to have something professionally built that was dyno tuned or something like that. It was built by someone from Springfield area that people had heard of, but it wasn't like hadn't been on a dyno, nothing like that. And most of the cars were that way at that time. Again, because we were unrestricted with the 750 Hollies and, we had plenty of power. Banking power wasn't a problem. But yeah, we ran the engine that was in the car and it was just a 355 Chevy, I guess. We had to run flat top pistons, I think, no roller cams, things like that. But we ran that engine and then we ran that in 94. It was 95 before we changed an engine.
95 is when we started having problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in 94, I got lapped every race. There was not a race that I didn't get lap in the feature.
That's not true.
Oh.
The very first race of 94, we finished fourth.
But tell them why.
Well, okay. There's a lot of cars. So we just survived, so to speak, but nonetheless, we finished fourth.
Yeah.
In one of them.
We just happened to be so far back, we weren't in the big wreck.
Yeah, we avoided the wrecks.
We avoided the wrecks. And so we just stayed out there, made laps, and ended up getting fourth place, which was, yay, you know, it was like a big deal, but we didn't deserve to get fourth as far as performance went.
Yeah. And that's another key thing right there. Like, whenever it's the first race of the season, I'm always a little bit more nervous racing around people. One, because you haven't raced with them for 6 months, but also everyone kind of thinks they're the bat out of the hell and thinks they can go and lap the field their first night. So I'm always a little bit more cautious. And that's, I mean, not saying that is the reason, but that is a good example of why I kind of take it easy the first couple races. So, but yeah, I've definitely raced, or the first couple of years, or first year I was racing a super late model, I definitely got lapped quite often. And also, I'm pretty sure back then y'all probably didn't have a tire rule that we do have nowadays. So
No, we did, didn't we?
maybe.
I don't remember when the tire rule started. It might have. It was probably in the mid 90s when the tire rule things got started, because they were trying to save the racers some money. And they started the one tire night rule.
Okay, so we stopped already.
I think it was after, because I don't think there was a tire rule when we were racing. It was afterwards when we were being tech officials, that I think is when the tire rule thing started.
Yeah.
Would have been late 90s when the tire rule started, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty much in 1994, you were running against unlimited tire budgets. What was kind of your tire budget kind of thing in that rule in that year?
We ran tires until we wore them out. We didn't buy new tires. I think we might have even bought some good used tires from some other cars. Guys that could afford to buy the new stuff would have good used stuff for sale. So we would buy the used stuff and run that. And if I poked a hole in one, I found a tire shop that could patch a hole in one of those, and so we'd fix them, you know, and keep them going. I mean, if they had rubber on them, we were running them. So
there you go. And also, a lot of people that run dirt that may be watching, they may think, okay, well, used stuff is still good. So I ran a pure stock. Whenever I ran a pure stock, I would buy 4 race old tires from B-Mod guys. And my last year of pure stocks, I ran the same right rear the whole year. And I was still pretty decently competitive. And asphalt, you can't do that. If you're in your third race, you're getting lapped by cars that are similar speed of you in late models. So the fact you say you got lapped in every race, that's still impressive to me based on that tire budget. So late models, it's a whole different beast when it comes, or not even late models, and asphalt cars, period. It is a whole different beast whenever you're considering your tires. So something to consider there as well. So in 1995, you had your last year of racing up until the 2020s. What was the last year like, and why'd you ultimately decide to hang it up that year?
So we got hooked up with a engine builder, and we had problems with the engine, and it broke us financially. Yep. So
we broke 3 engines back to back, and there was always an excuse. You know, we always needed a better part, or something was gonna solve the problem. And on the 3rd engine, we pulled all the stops out, spent more money than we probably should have. You know, started with a new block, a new crank, new rods, everything ground up. And I told her the night we went down there with the 3rd engine in the car, I said, if this engine breaks, I'm done. I mean, I am physically, mentally exhausted. I'm done. Not to mention financially. And the engine broke in the feature. We made it into the feature, and it was running well, making good power.
Oh, it was fast.
It was the fastest thing we'd ever had, for sure.
I think we're 15, 20s. Did we hit a 15-20?
Oh, I'm sure we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was fast, but when it broke, it really broke. I mean, it threw a rod through the side, the oil and everything came out. The car spun around. The car caught on fire going down the front straightaway from all the oil hitting on the header. And then the car spun around in turn 1 and 2. And as it did, it kind of put itself out. The fire went out and it was just a ball of smoke. But we spun out in our own oil. And as she was spinning around, I think
Larry Phillips and Russ Phillips. Russ Phillips was really good back in the day. They split me. They were in first and second. And I'm going backwards through turn 2 with these little flames trickling up through the cowl. And I'm going backwards, and here they come, and they split me. Larry went low, and Russ went high. And then I just looked, and I see nobody, and I turned the wheel, went into the infield.
Backed it into the infield.
Backed it into the infield, got out, and threw my neck collar off and my helmet off. And I said, I'm done. And I just walked away. And that was it.
Yeah.
And I told her before the night started, I said, if this happens, I'm done. And of course, after the feature, we're putting the car on the trailer, and guys were coming up and saying, "Hey, we'll I know somebody with a crankshaft. I know this guy, and everybody's wanting to help." And I told them, I said, "I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with this." And we'd spent too much money on the car that year. Didn't really get to compete like we had in previous years, and it was time to take a break.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
After that, I understand. There's some times where there's some times that I'm just like, all right, this time I've never blown an engine. Wood desk here, knock on some wood. But, well, actually I did this year. Never mind, in the Hornet. But a rental ride that we're putting together blew an engine early in the season, but I was like, you know what? It's a Hornet. We can put that in. A late model, on the other hand, I'm sorry. That's a lot to put together. So you kind of step away from racing in 95, but in 97, Fred, you came back as a tech man. I gotta ask, because I've heard the stories, I've seen it. I mean, we've all interacted with the tech people. What was the stories like of actually becoming a tech man, and what did you see in that time?
Well, 96, we took the year off and did nothing. 97, I wanted to be involved in racing somehow because I loved it so much. And I called Bruce Handley one night and I said, "Hey, do you need any help in the tech barn?" Well, he always needed help. And he's like, "Yeah." So I was a tech man. Bruce was still head tech. It was kind of a fun year because I got to snoop around, find things, and then tell Bruce, "Hey, this is what I found." So I didn't have to be the bad guy. I was just doing all the investigative work and looking things over. And then I let Bruce do the dirty work, telling the guy, "Hey, we're going to have to disqualify you," or whatever, So it's kind of a fun year. And then, but Evette wasn't involved. So that kind of took the fun part out of it. She drove a tool truck. Who was it?
Steve Simmons, his dad, Dennis
Simmons. They had a speed shop in
Springfield?
No, it was north of Springfield. Little town north of Springfield.
I can't think of the name of it.
Anyway, they had a speed shop, and they were wanting to put together a tool truck, and they knew that Evette was available. She was kind of hanging around here and there, and so they talked to her about driving the tool truck to the racetrack at Lebanon, and selling tools and parts and speed parts and stuff, at the racetrack. So she did that while I was a tech official in 97, and then in 98. They asked me, they wanted to move Bruce into a different position.
Almost like competition director.
Competition director type thing. And so they was going to make me head tech. And I told them, I said, "Man, I'll only do that if we rewrite the rules," because the rule book was horrible. Just a hodgepodge, pasted together, photocopied, duct tape, whatever. It was terrible. You couldn't even hardly read it because it'd been photocopied so many times. And so we agreed, I say we, Evette and I agreed to rewrite the rules in 1998. And we did all 5 classes. We had 5 classes back then. We did all 5 classes. And we tried to make some symmetry between the classes to where you could easily find topics or headings or whatever you wanted to look up. It was much easier to find. more methodical about it. So we put all that together in 98, and then I became the head tech official in 98. I know in 1998, as far as doing my job goes, a lot of people didn't like me because I think I disqualified at least one car every night. And 90% of them were probably in the pure street class because that's where most of the cheating goes on anyway, is in
Yep.
your entry level classes. Not many people cheat with a modified or a late model because they don't really have to. There's so many speed parts you can buy that are legal to run.
Yep.
There's just not a lot of, I mean, I'm sure there's some fudging going on, but you're never going to find it anyway. It's buried too deep in the car.
Yep.
But in the lower divisions, there was plenty of rules that said don't do this, and people would do that. So we found a lot of that, and I think I actually disqualified. I don't know. I kept track of it that year, but I think it was like almost 30 cars the whole season. But most of them were in the lower divisions. So, but that was 1998.
Yeah.
And Evette joined me in the tech barn in 98. So we did have some fun, and we had a couple other guys working for us too in the tech barn. We had a lot of fun
Yeah, it
with
was
them.
fun.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'm someone who supports disqualifications. And of course, there has to be a little bit of, okay, you kind of have some leeway here, you have some leeway here. But I've been DQ'd like 4 or 5 times, and it's mostly due to lack of knowledge. Well, of course, if something's illegal, something's illegal. So I support if a driver, I've told multiple drivers this, if you don't think your car is illegal, take it to the tech man. He'll probably look it over for you. And then if you say, hey, look it over, find what's illegal, I'll change it in the next coming weeks. Can you just give me a pass for a couple weeks if I don't make it to the tech barn? Usually a tech man's going to be like, sure, okay, I'll look it over, make sure everything's legal, but you got to change it in the next few weeks whenever you get back to the tech barn. And usually people are supportive of that. So, hey, the fact that you DQ'd 30 people in one year, I applaud you for that. That's great. So, um, and did you continue teching? How was the teching going forward after that?
So we worked 97, 98, and in 99, I wanted to take some time off. They found another guy that was willing to run the tech shed. I helped in a distant manner, phone calls, tech support. We still did the rules in 99, Evette and I did, and published all that. And I helped out, like on practice day, I went down and did some training with the guys because we used to pump engines and things like that back in the day. We had some tools to do some things with. So we covered all that. But I kind of took a big step back in 99. And then in the year 2000, Bill Willard asked me to come back. Things weren't working out with their current tech. He wanted me to come back and try to clean things up again. And so I did. I went back in 2000. Evette and I both did as tech officials. And at the end of the 2000 season, I was just burned out. I was burned out with racing. I was tired of the complaining. People calling me on the phone and wanting to complain or whine about something, whatever. I got tired of that. Honestly, the tech job, and I forget to do this from time to time. We should thank our tech man. We should remember to thank him for doing this. And honestly, in the whole time I was a tech man, only one time I remember someone coming up to me. It was Jack Daniels, who ran in the sportsman class at Lebanon.
Does he make a good drink?
Nobody's a preacher.
He was a preacher.
That's great.
Ironic as that sounds. A nice guy. But he came up to me one night at the end of the race season, and he said, "I want to thank you for being a tech man." And he was the only person that ever did that. So that was special. I still remember the moment. I remember his name. I remember his face. So yeah, we should remember to thank our tech people because it's a thankless job. It really is.
Yeah. And also, I feel like every time I see a tech official, or I at least I try to have a fun conversation with them. One, because it kind of helps you to be friendly with the tech people. And two, also, yes. Also, like, if they'll work with you on stuff, like they will inform you of things and say, hey, there was many times Jeff Albright I mean, when I first raced or when I first started and I got DQ'd, I kind of badmouthed him on Facebook. But then after that, I was kind of like, hey, sorry about that, yada, yada, yada. We kind of made up about that. But he would kind of say, hey, by the way, you can improve that on your car. It's legal. And I'd be like, oh, I didn't even know that. Thank you for pointing that out to me. Now I can go fix that. So the tech guys will help you out in certain senses. So be nice to your tech people, all drivers, because I've seen many times this year alone at many different tracks where tech officials come and go. So be nice to those tech officials because the racetracks, it's hard to find tech people because of how unthankful the job is. So little PSA there in the middle of the middle of here. But in 2024, you came back to racing in the Crown Vics when Aaron opened the track back up. What was kind of the inspiration to get started back into racing?
Well, in 2024, they opened the track back up, and Terry Limbropoulos is from Cuba,
Yep.
drives the late model class, and we decided to help him with his car because we felt like, well, we just love racing, love being around it, and we love the community, the racing family, and so we decided to go down there. And honestly, when I first heard about the Crown Vic class, I thought to myself, that is the stupidest thing I have ever heard of. Why would anybody want to take a big, large four-door sedan and make a race car out of it? And in my mind, I remember looking at the rules too, and they had some kind of a rule. They were going to have a car claim of some kind that never
Yeah.
materialized. They dropped it. But when I read the car claim, that totally turned me off. And I thought, there's no way I would do this. And in my mind, I just imagined a demolition derby looking car, all beat up with spray painted numbers and whatnot. And I remember the
There's a
very
few.
first, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Hey, I ran duct tape numbers for the first 3 years of my career, so and support of it, love it.
Yeah. But I remember when we first started going down there, and Reggie Jackson and some of these guys, they had painted cars, they were shiny, they had graphics on them, they were kind of racy looking, and then I started watching the races, and I mean the Crown Vic class is actually a spec class because everybody runs a Crown Vic. You have to have
Yep.
that car to run that class, or the Mercury Marquis or whatever. But it's a spec class, and that makes it extremely competitive. And we started watching the races, and I thought, man, these guys are putting on a show. I mean, you got a different winner every week. Well, almost every week.
Not this year.
Not that well. In 2024, we had Tim Brown, and unfortunately, Tim, I hope you're watching. We're still dealing with Tim Brown's car. He has another driver in it. But regardless, but we had a lot of different winners, and it was hard. It was hard to win races. I think Tim would even admit to that. It was hard to go from the back to the front, but because the classes is very competitive, and so I started looking at this thing, and one thing led to another. And then of course I'm on Marketplace looking at cars for
Yep.
sale.
Yep.
And before you know it, you're hooking up the trailer and you're going to go look at one. You got the cash in your pocket. We went to a car dealer's lot in Kansas City and bought a police car, an '08 police car. Drug it home, and honestly, I parked it in the back lot. And you can ask Evette. I think the car sat there for 2 months, and I didn't even touch it because I was still trying to convince myself I wanted to do it. I hadn't completely, even though I owned the car, it wasn't a race car, but I hadn't completely committed to building it yet.
Yeah, because we could sell it and get out from underneath
Yeah,
it.
because that was her thing all along. She goes, "Can we sell this car and get our money back?" I'm like, "Yeah, we can get our money back." So we bought the car, not even convinced we wanted to do it. But I think it was July 4th weekend of 2024. She went out there and decided, we're building this car. We got on the internet and ordered a roll cage kit, and she went out there and started yanking the interior and stuff out of it. And I told her, I said, well, if we hit it hard, I think we had about maybe a 3 months. Was it 3 months? June, July. Yeah, we had a 3-month period. And there was 3 races left in September. And I told her, I said, if we hit it hard for 3 months, maybe we can make those last 3 races in September of 2024,
Yep.
which we did. And the whole time we're building the car, she kept saying, we're older now. We haven't raced I haven't been in a race car in 30 years. I don't know if I can do it. And I told her, I said, well, I'm building the car, trying to keep things as cheap as I possibly can. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, if she doesn't want to drive it, or we change our mind, I can sell this car and get my money back out of it.
Yep.
And that was kind of my mindset as I was building it, just trying to keep it as bare minimum as possible, keeping all the stock parts if I could, utilize that stuff, which we did. And I think probably within the first or second lap, that was it. She was hooked. She was all in. Our goal for the first night was, don't get in anybody's way. Try not to run last, and don't embarrass yourself, and hopefully have fun. That was our goals for the night. I think we finished eighth that night on the very first night.
Yep.
Eighth or ninth, something like that. And we were hooked. We were all in.
Well, let's back up just a bit.
Okay.
When we went to when we started helping Terry and Shane, the announcer, he's talking Jesus over the loudspeaker.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, wow, this is different, because that didn't used to happen at Lebanon. And since we stopped racing in the 90s, we got really heavy involved in the youth group at church and things like that. And so we've started walking our path with God. Okay. So I'm hearing all this and I'm thinking, wow, this guy is preaching the gospel. Then come to find out, David Douglas is Aaron's dad, and David is a preacher. And I'm like, I want to get involved with this track, because I saw an opportunity to share the love of Christ. And so that was a big reason of why I agreed to even do it again. If we can't show Jesus in our life in everything we do, then I don't want any part of it. And so that's a big part of it.
There you go. Okay. So you came back, and obviously, okay, so you said eighth or ninth is the first couple nights.
I think it was ninth.
Might have been ninth.
Yeah.
Ninth place.
So for context, a lot of races around this area, or a lot of races in general, they may think of maybe a 12, 13, 14 car field, because that's usually average. Crown Vics are getting about 20 to 25 cars a night. And I think back then it was probably 22. So you were top half of the field, and you weren't even thinking about, let's go racing in a cheaper car that you wanted to race. So, and you hadn't raced for 30 years. So I would say that's pretty dang impressive on your first night. So then you run the last two races. You come back in 2025. At that point, were you hooked? Were you trying to make the car better? What's going through your mind then?
Oh yeah. Now it's like, what can we do to make the car better? Well, first off, in 2024, we didn't realize it, but the right front shock was shot. There was no shock in the shock. I mean, there was no. So when I was going into the corner, it was like having no shock. And the first night, I remember I came back into the pits, and he's like, "Well, what do you think?" And I said, "This thing is squishy." Well, it didn't have a shock, and we didn't know it, and we didn't even check it.
We didn't have time to check it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the shock was there. It was just wore out.
Yeah. Hey, so when I ran a Hornet on dirt, the last 2 years, I had a broken left rear strut. 2 years. And it was the thing was, I was like, I had duct tape numbers. I was like, it's a Hornet. It's a Hornet. I'm not going to spend any more. I was also in high school working full time and trying to get my own place at the same time. So with a garage that I could actually work on it. So I was like, I'm not spending $1 more on this car. I'm going to show up to the track, run my laps, load it up, go home, not touch a damn thing, make sure the car is safe. That's it. So there you go. I am the fact that people have broken stuff on their car, I'm in support of that. Clap. But no, yeah, I understand the running with a broken. I mean, I wouldn't run with a broken right front, but left rear, I've been there. So, yeah. And then in 2025, you get a little bit better, and you get your first win back. What was that feeling like?
That was the first time I got to experience victory lane, because I never got to experience it. Well, I take that back. With Charlie's car, I got to experience victory lane, but it wasn't our car.
Yeah.
And then when we won in our street stock, I didn't get to experience victory lane because of the double feature back to back thing, and they were trying to run it fast and get out of there on time. But anyway, so I got out of I was so wore out. I could hardly get out of the car. And I remember walking around thinking, man, I am so tired. And Shane is trying to talk to me. And it was just like, I'm looking at the car, I'm looking at Shane, I'm listening to him. And all of a sudden I just started blurting out stuff. I can't even tell you what I said right now. But
We'll find the clip and just play it right now.
Yeah. But I do remember looking at the sponsors on the car and reading them off because I couldn't remember who was on there.
Yep. Same here.
Yeah. But it was pretty exciting. And then Fred came down and then we got a picture together. That was our first picture on Victory Lane together. Yeah.
There you go. And is that the one on Facebook that we're gonna have the thumbnail with? That you posted on Facebook, or is that a different one? Or is that the second one? Maybe.
Yeah. That was the wooden plaque. That's the second one.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So you got your first win, and now you got your second win in Crown Vics in the same year. Now you're really going at it. So what was the second win like? Was there more confidence in the first one? A little bit easier to get your words out in victory lane, maybe?
Yeah, it was. It was easier to speak. And I think maybe did I have a hat?
Yes.
I think
she carries a hat. In the car.
Now I carry a hat in the car because, when you get out,
your hair is messed up.
Yeah.
So last year I won my first late model race, or the limited late model race. And the first time I'm like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm really nervous, yada, yada, yada. Second one was just fine. Well, I would say just fine. Day before we announced my dad had passed away. So that was a whole nother thing. But then when I won the championship in the limiteds, that interview was a lot easier to go through than the first one and a lot more fun. So I definitely can understand that because we both experienced it last year. So
yeah.
but in 2025, you missed a couple races though. Were you trying to go for a points championship, or was it just kind of how the schedule worked?
No. Well, we became grandparents.
Okay.
And we were not about to miss that. So we went to Florida, and that was more important than racing. So that's why we took some time off.
Fair enough.
And we were not going for points in 25. If you ask me, we're not going for points in 26 either. But if you ask her, you'll probably get a different story.
We're in
it. I try not to get wrapped up in points because it can be very addicting. And I mean, I would, last Saturday night it was so hot. I'd love to not been there, but we do work on the car all year, and it is racing season, so we're going to go racing. But we did miss a couple last year. It wasn't as important to me. This year, I'd probably struggle with not being there every time this year, just because we're just so wrapped up in it. I enjoy what we're doing a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, well, you guys are running against obviously Cabe for points right now. It's between you two. And so if Cabe's watching this right now, I will tell him that you guys were second, I was third. And I don't know if you saw this, but I pointed my hand out the window and I said, go get him. Because honestly, you went to the back, you were behind me, you went to the back and drove your way through the field, got past me, which I will say the car was cutting out, but you passed me legitimately, obviously. And so I was like, go get him. I want to see this race just through the front windshield. So it was, not only was I trying to keep the car with momentum while it was cutting out, but I was also trying to watch you guys and see. I was like, is Evette going to get him? Is Evette going to get him? So that was pretty fun to watch. But I got to ask, so now 2026, what's been the highlight of this year so far?
Running so well. I am so pleased with how well we're running. It's more than I could have dreamed for. It really is.
Yeah. And you're not on a late model budget now.
Right. And we're running a street stock.
Yes.
Too,
yep.
which is a challenge. Doing 2 cars in one night when it's so hot is a real challenge. Plus the car's not handling just the way I like it right now. That we're going to fix that.
Yeah.
But if we could get that street stock to handle the way that Crown Vic handles, oh man, I would just be on top of the world.
There you go. Yeah. Make sure you drink a lot of water and because those race nights get hot. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's a few times that I'm just like I feel like a pain in my back neck and I'm just like, okay, we need to take a we need to take a second, drink some Gatorade, drink some Powerade or something.
yeah.
Also protein shakes to the racetrack. Really good. Trust on that one.
Okay, I
Um,
will.
But I want to try to get into street stock with y'all a little bit. I've ran a Hornet at I-44. I've ran now a Crown Vic at I-44. I want to try to hit all classes. So street stock's the next one. So hopefully maybe this year or next year we can have a street stock owner that wants me to drive their car. Um,
Yeah,
Maybe we'll see that. But what was I gotta ask, so we raced against each other this weekend. I was cheering for you to get past Cabe. Um, I know we've been both kind of supportive of each other. Um, what was kind of was there a little bit of like, oh, Trenton's racing, what's going on with that? What was racing against me like? I gotta ask as a
it was fun.
yeah,
I was glad you were out there
okay.
because we
So
need more late model guys to get in Crown Vics. We
okay,
do.
yeah. So
Yeah,
you support Cabe being in Crown Vics?
yeah. I'm fine with it.
Okay, cool.
Here's the deal: you guys up the bar. Okay, so if we can keep up with you guys, that
Yeah,
that helps us. You know what I mean? You
yeah.
you force us to try harder.
Yeah. And I think Sierra told me after the race or on Saturday, she was like, it was great to get race against someone who I knew wasn't going to wreck me and who I knew was understanding of what the car was going to do. So I think that's also great with some of the other drivers. I wish I kind of would have started in the back so I could go run through the field a little bit and kind of have that full Crown Vic experience. But hopefully, I should be running maybe a couple more races here this year, so we'll see if I can have the full Crown Vic pack experience that
Well,
you have.
even if you qualify to start in the front and you tell them you want to start tailback, they'll let you.
Yeah, but I think anytime like you say, I want to start in the back, but it's like it's there. I had I mean, I ran last year was my fourth late model race. And I was not that good. And I had a new set of tires on hand, and they put me at the front for the feature. And I was like, put those new tires on. And there's like, it's your fourth race. You're not going to win it. And I go, yes, I am. Let's put those new tires on. But didn't win it, unfortunately. But I mean, yeah, if you get the chance to start at the front, I don't think anyone's not going to take that, unfortunately. So I gotta ask. So we've kind of had this hour-long discussion of what you two have meant to each other in the pits. What has Fred meant to you in the pits? And Fred, what has Evette meant to you as a driver? And how does that gel together over the years?
There's no way I could run a car without Fred. It, the only reason I'm driving the street stock for the J&C Racing is because Fred can help. If Fred was out of the picture, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
We're a team.
yeah. There you go. Fred, what what has it been like for you?
Well, I'm I like building things. I'm very passionate about stock cars in particular. I like racing. I like all kinds of racing, but racing stock cars is I'm very passionate about it. I really I can it's easy for me to eat, breathe, and sleep racing. I think about it all the time. I get up in the morning thinking about it. When I'm in the shower, I think about it. I mean, it's just all the time
Guilty, guilty.
on my radar, and that's kind of who I am. I'm not a driver. I'm not a competitor. I don't have hardly a competitive bone in my body. I have no interest in driving whatsoever. Um, I have always felt that Evette has a gift. She's good at what she does. Um, honestly, if she wasn't a good driver, if I didn't think she was a good driver, it would be hard for me to be as enthusiastic about working on the car, fixing it, whatever, and trying to make it better if I didn't think she could capitalize on it. But I feel like my job is to give her the best car I possibly can, and then she's going to give me the best performance, and I get to witness that every week. And last Saturday night was no exception. I mean, I was heartbroken when we spun all the way around, and the yellow comes out, because what happens next? You go to the back. And I
Yep.
thought, oh man, this is not where I wanted to be. But after the race played out the way it did, and she finished in second place. I mean, it's not a win. Cabe won the race, but it almost felt like a win. Coming from the back in the Crown Vic and making it up to second place, and even getting within a striking distance of Cabe's back bumper. It felt like a win. It really did.
Yeah.
So it was satisfying. I was disappointed when she spun, but seeing the performance coming up through the field and the way she can work her way through traffic, it's exciting to watch. It really is.
Yeah. And also, I think so. It was kind of really exciting for me, and why I was like, go get him, is because throughout the entire race, I'm just kind of looking at my mirror, seeing who's behind me, kind of taking note of that, so then I can kind of prepare myself. And I was like, okay, good. I mean, no disrespect whatsoever, but I was like, okay, we'll be good. It's gonna be me and Sierra this time. Like it's gonna be me and her battling. But then I saw you in my mirror. I'm like, oh, she's all the way back up here. Let's go. So I was like, oh yeah, she's definitely gonna get both of us, but I want to see how this plays out. So that was kind of fun as well. And then when I kind of got a little bit of a gap on Sierra there, and then you were battling with her, so I was like, okay, um, understanding how that was kind of gonna happen, and I felt like with how my car handled, if I just stayed to the outside, I was gonna be okay. And then it started cutting out. So, but we were bad. I would have wanted to really battle side by side without it cutting out, but I feel like you were just going to waltz away from me anyway. So, you did a great job there. So that was awesome. But I've got to ask, um, you said you have grandkids at this point. So what does your future in racing look like? What do you see going forward in racing?
Playing it day by day.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. At this age, it's like, I don't know. Even after every Saturday night, we're like, well, if we do this, next year, we always say, if we do this again next year, well, then we talk, if this, if that. But I think we plan on finishing this year. At least I hope we do. God willing, we finish this year. But as far as next year, I don't know. We're playing it by ear. I don't know if we'll even be in Missouri. I mean, the grandchild is in Florida.
Yeah, fair enough.
I could go down there and race at Cletus McFarland's track.
There you go. And then you'll be the star down there as well. You'll be great. There you go. So, with that, what is your favorite racing memory? I want one from both of y'all. Favorite racing memory.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's one that I remember very well. We were headed to the track. It was probably 91, 2, 92.
91.
Was it 91? We had the Monte Carlo.
Yeah, the old car. Yeah.
Okay, so we were headed to the track, and on I-44, Interstate 44. And going down, there's a big long hill, and back in the day, there's a bridge there now, but it's the Jerome Hill, and it's widened right now. But back in the day, it was a very narrow bridge and curvy. And we were going down, and I'm laying in the back because I tried to take like a little nap or relax before getting to the track. And I'm laying down, I'm kind of looking at the sky, and I feel the car kind of do this. Next thing I know, the car is it's turning around, and I'm looking at this, and I feel the car turning, and I hear Fred say, "Oh crap!" And it's like we're turning around, tires are squealing, and I'm thinking, "What's going on?" Because I feel my body getting thrown to the side, and we come to stop at rest on I-44 in the right-hand lane, facing the wrong way. And here's trucks coming down the hill, and they're scrambling to get over in the left lane to miss us. And what'd you do? Did you pull it through off the bridge, or?
No, I pulled onto the shoulder of the road. Again, the car is facing the wrong way. I'm looking up the hill at oncoming traffic, and we got off the roadway, but we were on the shoulder of the road, and we just sat there. And I mean, I'm on the verge of having a heart attack. And what part of the story that left out was there was a neighbor had a dog, and the dog chewed the brake wiring in half. So we had trailer brakes on one side of the trailer and not the other. And then on top of that, we were getting a flat tire we didn't know about on the trailer. And as we headed off down that hill, well, things were already out of balance, so to speak. And when the car started to kind of wiggle back and forth, well, I tapped the brakes, to set the trailer brakes to kind of straighten things out. And with only one trailer brake working and a flat tire on, things got real ugly real quick. And I fought that thing going down the hill, trying to straighten it out. And we got to where the bridge was. And I thought to myself, this ain't happening on the bridge. And I hit the gas pedal and just held it to the floor. And as soon as I got across the bridge, I stood on the brake pedal. Next thing I know, I think I blanked out for a minute. I don't really know what happened, but I kind of looked up and realized I'm facing the wrong way. And Evette's like, Fred, we need to get off the road. I mean, it killed the car. We had to start the car up and drive it off of onto the shoulder of the road. And then fortunately, the state patrol came by, and he directed traffic so that we could get the thing turned around on the highway and get headed back, going to the track.
But the only thing that we lost was
I lost a deep well socket somewhere.
It was like a 9/16 deep well socket was the only thing that we lost.
Yeah, that was maybe a couple of years of my life. I'm not sure, but it's all fine. We survived.
There you go.
It's a crazy time for sure.
Absolutely. Well,
I don't know that I have a favorite moment. Nothing specific comes to mind. Maybe being a tech official and getting to know, we back when we were tech officials, we did pre-race inspections. So all cars came through the tech shed. It wasn't just post-race inspections. We teched all cars all the time. So really got to have a one-on-one, you got to know people, you knew their name, you knew their face because you saw them every week, when they came through the tech barn. And, earlier we talked about Larry Phillips, and I got to see a different side of Larry that I didn't know existed, and other people the same way. You just get to know their personality. They're not just a number on the car. There's a person in the car, and you get to know those people, and then you develop this like family-like relationship with. It's a truly special thing. I'm even frequently when I pray pray for family or pray for situations, pray for our country, I pray for our racing family, everyone that we see at the racetrack every week, because I feel like we're all we all have something in common. We all love that place, and it's a special place for all of us. So yeah, that would be my favorite moment, I guess. Not really a moment, but moments.
Oh, I have a story. So back in 91 or 2, they had a special event where these sprint cars.
Yes.
Yep. They were the midgets or sprint cars. I can't remember.
They were sprint cars. They didn't have wings on them, though.
Yep.
There were 4 cylinders, but there were 2 that show up that were 6 cylinders.
V6s.
V6.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was Tony Stewart.
He
was a little scrawny kid. And I remember walking up to him and just said, I didn't know who he was. And he was nobody back then, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this your car? And he's like, yeah. He goes, you want to sit in it? And I go, sure. So you had to climb through the top and drop down in there. And I'm sitting in it. And man, it's really snug and comfy. And I looked up at him and I'm like, hey, man, I can't get out of this thing. I'm stuck. And he goes, well, I guess you're going to have to race it then. And so boom, I'm out of there. But it was Tony Stewart when he was a young, skinny kid. I'm like, hey, so how do you get this? How do you get a car like this? He's like, I have an agent. He had an agent, and the agent would tell him, hey, I need you to get on the plane and go to such and such track. And that's what he did when he was So that's how
So he was driving a car for someone that he'd never met before.
Never been in the car, I don't think.
Prior to that night, he'd just get a phone call, say, go to Lebanon and you're going to drive a car. And he would go to Lebanon or go to wherever and drive a car. That's what they did. That's how it worked back then.
Yeah. And then there was another night we saw him at Tri-City Speedway, and he won that. I mean, that's a dirt track, right? And he won that. I mean, just blew everybody away. And he goes, he gets out of the car, and here's this couple. They look like they were in their 80s or 90s. And the old guy's got a cane, and they walk over there, and the woman's like, well, honey, we want another one. They were the car owners, and Tony was the driver, and he'd never driven the car before.
Right.
Gotta love it.
I know.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Racing was such a different time back then. Now it's a lot more. I mean, obviously, if a NASCAR driver is going to go to NASCAR or IndyCar, it's a lot more polished around them. So, but yeah, that is pretty cool there. So, I've got to ask, as a woman in motorsports, how would you encourage other girls to get into racing? Because obviously, it's not just a guy thing; it's a woman thing as well.
If they have a passion for it and they have the knack, I mean, they got to start out young. I mean, I started riding a motorcycle. Well, actually, I started driving a go-kart when I was 4, out in the field. There was no racing. It was pretend racing. And then I got my first motorcycle when I was 7. And then it was just like, I was just my dad was kind of a Hellcat, I guess, growing up. They would race backwards through the state park, things like that, just crazy stuff. And my brother, Robbie, he raced motorcycles and he drag raced. And I was just raised around motorsports. So for a girl that wants to get into it, they need to be around it. You can't, in my opinion, you gotta be raised around it somehow. Even if you're just going to the track and going down into the pits and just paying attention to what's going on. I don't think you can just jump in a car I mean, I guess it's possible, but to be around it is a big advantage.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if you think about it, it's like any sport.
Yeah.
If you play ball, you start when you can walk, just you start when as young as you can.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I would say it's a pretty good podcast there. Everyone that's watching, I guess, would probably take at least something from this conversation. You have been great to talk to at the racetrack. Both of you have been great to talk to at the racetrack. Evette, you're very much an inspiration to myself and probably others at the track. So, Fred, you are as well. Being able to support someone else and help out as much as possible. So, awesome that you all came on and want to talk to me. But who do you guys have to thank? Obviously, there's sponsors that come along. So, who are the people that you have to thank to keep it going?
Well, first of all, I got to thank God, because without him giving me the ability to do what I do, there's no way I could do it, for sure. And as far as all of the other people that you see on our car, they're not really sponsors. They're friends that I just felt like I wanted to put them on there. So the big sticker on the hood is the Ridge Church in Sullivan. That's where we go to church. They have a podcast. Their sermons are live streamed every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And so then if you go around the car, the big sponsor on the back that says it's on the quarter panel, that's Medicare Precision. That's me. So I'm starting to sell Medicare insurance. And so I figured, well, why not advertise? And then all the other little sponsors are friends. There's Hay Shoe Store in Cuba, LR Automotive, which is Terry Limberopoulos.
Yep.
And then there's some other guys, David McLean, and Roy Teeter has PEM. What is that? Drive shafts and
gears
and stuff like that. And then Matt Cruz has Mustang Muscle. He's the guy that tuned our car for us. And it seems like there's one more, but maybe not. No, that's it. Yeah. Anyway, those are our friends, and I want to support them in their business, and because everybody, is struggling, seems like, with the economy right now, and
Yeah.
so I'm just trying to help out as much as I can and get people's names out there. Next year, though, might be different. Might be not gonna get free rides.
There you go. All right, that's pretty awesome there. So, thank you all for coming on. Thank you all for watching the Throttle Up podcast. This was a good one. And yeah, everyone take care.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
Of course.
All right, bye.
See ya.